I think my paper flew off.
Paper.
Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are well. Can you hear me? Okay, hold on. We're trying to figure it out. Sorry, we're running late today. Let me kind of share my link with people. How are you guys doing? I have quite a few things to update you on.
I got you.
Okay, so Sean says he has me. I'm trying to grab a link of this so I could share it. Oh, here we go. Share. Okay, give me a second. I wonder if you can go on Facebook Live. What do you think, Sean?
Should be able to.
I'm sure there's a way. I met a lady, her name is Vossi, and she said she'd be willing to help me, and I should just really ask her how to help me do all of these things that we're trying to do. In the meantime, I'll just share my link. Okay, and one more space. Actually, I'll go live on Instagram. Let's see. Last time we went live and we had 300 people tune in. So that was really exciting. So I'm going to try that again. Let's see what we can do. Now, give me a second. All right. Hello, hello. Do you guys see me or hear me? Let's see. Did I push that? Oh, there we go. Oh. Let me try that again. Discard. So much to share, but please be patient with me. We're just trying to set everything up. Okay, we're live. Yay! Hi, everyone. I am so grateful. Today is Friday. I hope that you are all doing well. So excited that the weekend is coming. I'm not sure what we have planned this weekend, but I have a lot of work to do. Been just kind of a little busy, and I normally will use the weekend to kind of catch up on things. So I got to wrap up a few corporate dealings, and then also work on hi everyone on Instagram, and wrap up a trust and kind of get some deals in for real estate. So like always, thank you so much for chiming in. It's your real bestie, REAL, and real is real estate and law. So we're going to be sharing, some of those things, about, I always try to give a market update and on real estate. And then I also talk a little bit the law. We're going to cover briefly the week on the Alec Murdaugh case. The defendant actually waived his Fifth Amendment rights, and he is testifying. I've been gone all day today, so I don't know what happened. I know was cross ended yesterday, so I don't know if they continued it today. And so maybe we'll have to catch up on that next week. But also, I like to talk about personal development and what I've been up to. I like to talk about life. So I'm so glad that you guys have joined me. Behind me, just in case you didn't know, and I've talked about it in the very beginning, is like a little splotch on my wall that we definitely need to cover. We did, a little test swatch. And when I get to the color that I like, we're going to paint my room. And I could have done it before, you guys, could have done it before. However, I hear that, you like to see my progress. So we're going to be renovating my room, giving it a nice update, and just kind of prepare us for what we're doing here on live stream. I just got back, by the way, from an event, and I brought my box. So I actually gave this. I had a women's event yesterday that I put together, but we had this event like a boss. And that's Michelle Fan from YouTube. And that's Ivy. I think her name is Ivy Ha. Yep, Ivy Ha, who's the owner of many restaurants here. She's the CEO. And so we attended the event, and thank you. Hi, Lena. Alina says she loves my color choice. It's one of those things where I like to talk about. I've had a lot of executive coaching, and it's definitely a privilege. And one of the things that I was able to gain was really honing in on your image. People, unfortunately, in this world perceive how well you're doing based on how you look. And for me, I've always been into style, always been into fashion, but it was always being afraid of stepping into what I really like and owning what I was wearing. And so I've been able to look at things that I like and actually wear it and be very proud of it. And so but it's one of those things where, like, women, as we grow, sorry, Lena says our attractiveness is something we can control. I definitely agree. It's something that, you have a little bit of control over, a lot of control over, and you can, I was talking about this yesterday at my event. It was like the universe has waves, and so you want to put the right vibration. And but in this coaching that I did, it was not my coach, but it was someone else that I had associated with. And she talked about, there's like all these categories and you don't think about, but there's different categories of clothing, and like if you're in one particular area, or if that's your personality, like if you're bold and you wear X, Y, and Z. And so I've just kind of learned, like, I've always loved fashion, but sometimes shy. And a lot of times I'll wear what I do like, but now I'm wearing and owning it. And I think that says a lot. It carries further than just wearing something that you do like and not sure and being uncomfortable. But maybe that comes with age. Maybe it's because I'm older now. My birthday's next week, by the way. I mean, next month, by the way. Now that I'm about to be in my 40s, I'm in my 40s, but maybe I'm owning myself and just appreciating who I am, and appreciating my body, and what it's gone through, and being okay with it. So, but we have so many friends here tuning in. Thank you guys so much. So real quick, because we got to kind of just do the basics. This real estate update, Orange County, California real estate. Oh my gosh, I have to tell you guys, I won an award. Okay, real estate update and then an award. My award. So real estate update is inventory is still low, but we're still selling, and good homes are going quick. And a list price, and slightly even above. If your house is very nice. The houses that are staying on the market, when people say, oh gosh, the market is so bad, it's usually because those houses aren't renovated. And people nowadays, when they want to buy, they want it ready. They don't want to put in the hard work. And I think that's different from like how it was 10, 20 years ago. It's like people like myself and my husband, we would purchase a home and be like, okay, let's put in the time, and I kind of like that because I got to design the home that I loved. So I got to pick the colors that I wanted. And I actually helped Sean install our cabinets, and we would, paint our home and, do flooring and do baseboards and so all those things. But I think nowadays, just because everybody's so busy, and I think it's because we're connected in so many ways. We're always on social media. We're a text away from work. People don't want to deal with having to deal with contractor, and that's what Lena's saying. Having to deal with contractors, and the whole effort of it all. So if your house is not done, or your neighbor's house is not done, most likely they're going to be on the market for a little bit longer than others. So that's my update. And that's at least applicable in Southern California. But I do want to share my award with you guys. Let me find the title. Drum roll. Drum roll. Let's see. Actually, I Orange. Okay. Here we go. It wasn't yesterday, actually. It was 2 days ago. But it says, dun, 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 2023 South Orange County Realtor Top 500. So, yay! And that's from the South Orange County Real Producers. So that was like, gosh, I put in so much work. Thank you, thank you. And I mean, I guess a lot of people kind of don't really know what I do. And I mean, they do know, but they don't know. Like, I think numbers really sell people. And I'm not like a salesy person per se. I just kind of like whatever God brings to me. And if it's a lot of work, I'll take it. And if it's a season of slow time, I'll take that too, because it allows me to spend time with my kids. And there's just like so much trust in the Lord that He always provides me just enough. There's been times where, I'm nervous about not getting enough work, but one of my clients who came in, one of my law clients came to my office, and she told me that I don't have to worry about tomorrow because God has already allowed someone who, like, let's say I want food on my plate. God already had allowed someone else to plant the seed so that the vegetable or the fruit can grow so that it can be on my table. So it's like all these weeks and maybe months to grow something. God has already worked on it and it's going to come to my table. So my client was saying, so there's no need. You don't have to worry about anything. It's already here. And it's coming. So you just have to trust. And that's kind of where I've been at. But just to share some numbers with you in the past 2 years, we did almost $40 million in real estate and commercial sales. So, yay! It's been really exciting. I got my real estate license just to get, and I even encourage someone else today to just get your real estate license because you never know when you need it, and you never know who else may need it. I talked a little bit about this last week when I was interviewed by Pet Picks as well as Celebrity Catwalk, and I was in their live stream, and I was talking about how I got my real estate license just so that for myself, as an attorney. So in law school, we learn real estate law, and I had no idea, but you could just take the test and become a broker because you've learned all the rules that you'd learn in real estate class, and then along with that is you've learned the ethics. So I took the test, I got my license as a broker, and it was only personally going to be for my husband and I. We like to renovate homes, so we were kind of like flipping homes. We would buy them, live in them, and then once we finished it, we would go on to our next project. And I purchased it just for myself. Sean, are you here?
Yeah.
Because I feedback on that. It's really sorry. Yeah. So what I did was slowly, my clients were saying they needed a house. And I'm like, oh, well, I can help you. And then it became another client. And then that client led me another one because they were so satisfied with our services. And so it would just snowballed. And now I'm serving so many people where we're doing great with our sales, and so well that, hey, we got nominated as one of the top realtors of South Orange County. And it's funny because, I was from South OC for quite some time. I think like 5, 6, maybe 7 years. And then now I moved to North OC to be closer to family. So, but it doesn't matter, I feel like, because Orange County is not that big. I mean, it does take like maybe 40 minutes from where I live to go South OC. But it's a small community and a small county that north or south, it doesn't matter. But it's just been so amazing. God is so good. So I just wanted to share that with you. I got a badge. They told me to share on social media, so I'm definitely going to do that. So you'll be seeing me post about that. Excuse me. On to, gosh, it's like I'm talking so fast because we have so much to share, and in 1 hour, it's like, how do I share for 1 hour? I've had other people tell me like 80 people's time span. I think like, watching your show, like the attention span isn't longer than an hour. Like, you're crazy. You should do it for 30 minutes. But I can say Sean and I, if we like someone, it's like even an hour and 40 minutes of them streaming live.
2 hours last night.
Was it 2 hours?
Until like 2:30 in the morning.
Until 2:30 in the morning, we were streaming someone, and it was like 2 hours wasn't even enough. I mean, I was so tired because I had an event yesterday, and we'll talk about that. And I mean, it was just so beautiful. And I really wanted to tell you like the behind the scenes and like what I was thinking. And what I was feeling. Let me just share. I just met a couple other people at an event I was just at. So I definitely want to share with them because I said share the link. I'm going to do that. Let's see. Oh, it's not pulling. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so before I talk about last night's event, let's talk about the Alec Murdaugh case from a high level. You just want to know, what happened and what my thoughts are. So, we're not going to sit and do play by play. So I'm going to have Sean, you got to come probably a little bit closer just because, it's hard to hear Sean. I realize like when I'm watching the replay and I'm trying to hear like sound, I'm like, oh, nobody could hear Sean.
You're by 2 microphones.
Yes. Right. Oh, and I got a camera too. Yes. So it's here, but we need to install it. So figure out how to make it all work. Yeah, we'll figure it out this weekend. We'll do that. Okay. So for the Alec Murdaugh case, for those who don't know, he is the alleged killer, murderer of his son and his wife. And so he's on trial for that. He's also known to be like this crazy, terrible man who's also done financial crimes. Hi, Joanna. Against his clients and people he knew, and they were financial crimes. So there's about 99 financial charges against him for the financial crimes that he's done. And the prosecution has introduced those financial crimes in saying that that was a reason for his motive. Like he wanted to kill his son because he wanted the financial crimes to go away. But what we're saying is, like, for me as an attorney, I just feel like it did more damage than it did good. It's basically to assassinate his character. It was more prejudicial than probative. So I think that should have been kept out, but the judge let it in. So we'll see. There's going to be an appeal likely on that if he's found guilty of murdering his wife and son. But anywho, usually what generally happens is these defendants, they don't speak at trial. They just sit back and then, both sides introduce their evidence and they show what they feel is whether, let's say for Alec Murdaugh, he did it. That's the prosecution side, which is actually the attorney general in that state, in the state of South Carolina. Or they would say that he is innocent, and that's on the defense side. And usually what you'll see is the defendant just sits there and he is just observing everything because, you kind of don't want to go up there. As a defendant, if you went up on, you waived your Fifth Amendment rights to be silent. And just because you're silent doesn't mean you're guilty. If you go and they catch you on a lie, like the Amber Heard case. I don't know if you guys watched that, but the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, it was like so many people didn't like Amber Heard because of how she was. And so you don't want to be found guilty just because they don't like who you are. But anywho, Alec Murdaugh testified. We had heard that about 2 days ago, but we didn't think. We thought, well, maybe they're testing the waters. Maybe for real, he, I don't know. I didn't think that he would testify because, and he's an attorney too. But you know what? He waived his Fifth Amendment rights and he testified. So he went on the stand yesterday. And while he was on the stand, I'm coming from a position, not just because I'm an attorney, right? Where I'm trying to stay unbiased. I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, is he being reasonable in his excuses? Or, because the AG, the attorney general, the prosecution side is saying, oh, he's going up there because he's just rebutting every single reason that we've tried to prove that he's guilty. So it's an excuse. But I'm taking a perspective, like, for example, when they saw Alec Murdaugh, his t-shirt was clean. And it was because he had taken a shower. And that was his, huh?
earlier in the night.
Yeah, earlier in the night when they saw him. Well, no, when they saw him, he had a white t-shirt on, but earlier in the night, he had taken a shower. I mean, I don't know about you and I. Because normally if you're committing a crime, your clothes should be dirty, should have some DNA, should have some blood splatter on there, some gun residue. He was totally clean, and they were saying that they changed his clothes, right? Okay, but the story behind it, actually, when he testified to me, that was so like reasonable, was that he had gone out. It was like, it's 17 acres, something like that, his land. He'd gone out and he'd gone to plant some sunflowers, and he went to go visit the dogs, and he's all over the ground. He was doing it in I think in the golf course or somebody's car. And he was saying it's really muggy, the weather, and he was hot, and he was actually heavy, so heavier than where he is now in jail. So he was like 6 something feet tall, 6'4", 265 pounds. So after he had done all this work, hi Kim Hua, after he had done all this work out in the yard or in his farm, I guess you could say, he went in and he took a shower, and then he put on a t-shirt. And they're like, well, why weren't you wearing your work clothes? Weren't you wearing X, Y, and Z work clothes when you were at work? And he's like, yeah, but I came home and he got comfortable. To me, that makes sense. I mean, honestly, Sean and I, when we come home, more so Sean, and maybe it's a guy thing, but right when we get home, he's in his PJs. I mean, I blink my eye and he's in his PJs and comfy clothes. He's got, I maybe not like PJs, but he has like workout pants on and like a really soft tee. So to me, I'm like, when I hear Alec tell that story of like why his shirt was clean, it wasn't that he committed a crime and within a few minutes he got rid of the clothes and put on a t-shirt. It was like, that makes sense. That really, really makes sense. And then another thing, I mean, they asked Alec Murdaugh if he lied about being in the kennels with the dogs, because prior to Paul, his son, dying, there was a Snapchat. Was it Snapchat?
I think it was a video he was texting.
Yeah, it was a video, and it was posted on social media. I don't know if it was like TikTok or Snapchat, but there was a video that was posted on social media, and you could hear Paul's voice talking to the dog. It was like further away from Paul, and it was like Alex's voice. And so, oh my gosh, we have so many people watching us live. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you subscribe, you like, and leave a comment, because it would mean so much to me. And share too, because we definitely want to, when we get into talking about last night's event, it's going to be so good. And I hope that you learn. Okay, so really quick. So back to Alec. So Alec had lied when they called it's the police department, the investigation department, when a crime happens, is called Sledge. It stands for some initials. But he had told Sledge that, he was not present in the kennel prior to his son and his wife dying. And, when the prosecution was putting their case on, they were interviewing all his best friends, and they were saying, is that Alec Murdaugh's voice? And, unfortunately, his friends were like, yeah, that's his voice. And I felt so bad for his friends, because like they're putting this predicament, like, they're the expert because they know him and they know his voice. And so all this time, they're like, the prosecution said, oh, he's such a liar. Like he lied and he said he wasn't there, but we hear his voice in Paul's last video that he Snapchatted or TikToked, and there's proof that he was there. So he was the one that killed his kids, and a kid isn't his wife, because it's within minutes that they, pass away. Well, huh?
So we don't know that.
Oh, but we don't know for sure, because why, Sean? Sean's in a talk, so hopefully you can hear him.
We don't know for sure. We just know that's when their phones were used last. But I mean, no one was there. We know that when he came back home, like an hour and 20 minutes later, they were dead. But we don't know when in that time it actually occurred.
Yeah, because it's like an estimation about like when someone passed away.
The didn't estimate a time of death or anything.
Oh, they didn't. Okay. Sean's following it more closely than I mean, I'm watching it on high speed on somebody else sometimes, and it's like at 1.5 speed. I don't know how people do on 2 times speed. Like that's too fast. But so the explanation for why, because so they asked Alec Murdoch, were you at the kennels during that time of that video? And he said yes. And it was like, we were all like, what? Like, you just admitted to lying. And then they're like, why did you lie then? And his reason was reasonable. He said that he was addicted to drugs. Whenever he gets nervous, he starts lying. One of his defense mechanisms, because he was so used to lying when he was using drugs, that he just kept lying and it kept snowballing. So then he lied not only to the police officers, he started lying to his son, and he apologizes and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. His other son, who's alive, Buster, he's like, he's sorry he lied to his son. And to me, I'm like, that's reasonable, because if I found my family who had passed away, I mean, God forbid that, knock on wood. I mean, I don't know what I would do, but I'm thinking I would, if I had been there, and I don't know, maybe, maybe I could have been like, oh my gosh, they're gonna pin me and say like I did it, so maybe I should just lie. And yeah, at the instant you just may say it, and then you regret it, you know. So that was interesting, and I found that to be honest and truthful. Um, and then any other points, Sean, that you thought? I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I really just found him to be very very reasonable.
Yeah, I think the things he said made sense, where the prosecution stuff just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think the prosecution is stretching it. Everything is like a theory. But then again, this is a murder trial. You should be asking questions on murder and not because he committed financial crimes. We're watching the cross examination. So that's the prosecution interviewing Alec, and we saw that the prosecution made Alec look better. Like, that's bad. Like, how do you make the killer the murderer? Allegedly, you put him in a better position. It comes down to that the attorney was too aggressive. And he could have gotten his point across, which was, did you commit those financial crimes? Yes. Do you feel bad about committing those financial crimes? Yes. Did you lie about committing the financial crimes? Yes. But instead, what they did was they kept pounding him and asking him, okay, what about this case in 2011?
You talked to this person.
You talked to this person. So you sat in front of them and you lied to them, telling them like, oh, but then you stole their money. And he's like, I don't know. Alex says, I don't know what exactly I said to them, but what I can tell you is that I took their money. It was a bad thing, and I'm deeply sorry. And then they ask, well, what about this one? And then the prosecution asks him about another case, another situation. And so then, Alex says, which case? I mean, he's like, he's done bad financial crimes for 15 years. So he's like, I can't tell you. And he's like, and it wasn't in every situation. Yeah, and so Lena says, yeah, they wanted to make him look bad. Yes, definitely they wanted to make him look bad, but at making the juror dislike the attorney, because you could be graceful, you could be loving. And it honestly, okay, so I've done trials before, and it really is very hard. So I don't do many trials. I consider it to be it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's like, you got to prepare for the day of the trial. So who are your witnesses? What type of evidence you're going to put on? What do you think some of the questions that you're going to ask? How do you think you're going to do cross or rebut evidence that you're going to present? But at the same time, also, you've got motions to write, and then at night when you come home, you got jury instructions, and then you got to prepare like the elements, and it's all these things that you have to present to the jurors. So it's like, it's continuous. So you really never sleep. I mean, at least for me, I feel like some other people could go to trial, and then they come home, they work on a little bit, and then they go to sleep. But for me, it's like consistent. And sometimes these cases can go for like, so a great case would be like 3 to 5 days. And then some cases go for 2 weeks. And so by the time 2 weeks, it's like, I'm totally exhausted mentally, physically. So it's not something that I do often. I try not to. But one of the reasons why I was inspired, to become a trial attorney, um, is because my friend Chris and a couple other mentors have told me, like, you would be really great because you are really friendly, and the jurors would like you. And sometimes it's not really about concrete evidence, but it's like, how can you pull them in? How do you tell a story? Can you connect on them on the emotional intelligence? Okay, hold on. Salsa Chick Linda says, gosh, no wonder they say the Kardashian got sick from the OJ case. Oh, totally. And it affects your family too, because once you're pulled out, like for me, then Sean has to step in, and they're still lacking me. The kids and the family, and then he's pitching in here and there, and then the kids lose their mommy and their daddies. It's really tough. But so back to what I was saying, on for me being a trial attorney is that um the jurors have a little bit more compassion toward me because I'm kind and I'm very respectful. But when it came to the prosecution, and this is just my opinion, and you can disagree, and you can let me know too that you disagree. Just let me know if you've been watching the Alec Murdaugh case. Just chime in and let me know. But I felt that they were being basically too hard on him at the end of it. At the end of yesterday, I felt like I had more compassion for Alec than I had for the prosecution side. There were polls that were being done as to before the polls were being before Alec took the stand, polls were being done to see whether or not, if Alec took the stand, if it would make a difference. The polls were 75 to 25. 75, he was already 70. He was going to be guilty. I mean, he was guilty in their eyes. It wouldn't make a difference. And so 25, he was not guilty. Well, yesterday, as Alec was being on the stand, and they were not interviewing, but they were examining him, direct examination, cross examination. You saw the poll go, yeah, more people were falling for Alec. So I think at the end of the day, it was still a little bit over 50%, still that Alec Murdaugh was guilty. But you saw they had lost a good quarter percent of, 25% of people who are now going on Alec's side. So I wonder what that's going to do for the jurors. And from the beginning, I've said this, and I'm open to it. And he can definitely be the killer if the prosecution can give me evidence that he did something to kill, to kill his wife and his son. Right now, there's no direct evidence. Everything's circumstantial. So, but that's, we'll leave it up to the air, and I got to see today's case. So, and kind of watch it and see where they're at, and I'll report back next week. But that's just how I'm feeling, right now. So let me know what you guys think. I would love to know, like my true crimes fans, let me know what you guys think, whether he's innocent or guilty, and what they can do to move you to the other side. I think that would be kind of cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much on that. And so we did the real estate. Now we did the law. Last night I had an event, and it was a hit. And I really want to cry because it's very emotional for me because all these years, I wanted to create a women's group. And I thought of names like High Society, Rise Up Women. I mean, if you look at my doodles and I have a bunch of Facebook groups that I tried to start, and then they just didn't go really well. I didn't have hundreds of people following my pages. Thank you, Joanna. Love you too. Thank you, Salsa, for your comments too. Salsa Chick Linda. And I had this vision, and I feel like God planted it in me, and then when it didn't work out, it was very discouraging. I wanted to create a space where women can come together. Hi, Angela. Where women can come together um, who are leaders, and also those who are inspiring. I share the story of when, I'm thankful. I get invited to a lot of C-suite events. So We're talking chief executive officer, chief marketing officer, chief financial officer. I mean, anything there's a chief to it. You know, I was invited to because I was chief executive officer of one of my companies, or a couple of my companies, and it was lovely. I mean, we're talking, golf course in Newport Beach, Pelican Hill, this is Orange County, very exquisite, high end, country clubs, and that I was invited to, and they always had these great speakers, talked about things that could help us in our workforce, implicit bias, how to structure something, how to grow your company from small to medium, medium to large. What do you need to do? What kind of new system is available for your company to help you grow? And hey, while we're at it, what do you think about investing in this company? Or what about putting your funds over here so that we can grow your money? So it's like all these great events, and so blessed to be able to, and I'm still going to them. But when I'm there, I just think about, what about all the other people, men and women, who want to be where I'm at, but nobody is guiding them to where I am at. I'm thankful that, I've had my parents, especially my father, who's coached me through and helped me get to where the businesswoman that I am today. I just thought there's a whole plethora of a community of people who are trying to become leaders, or trying to be inspiring, trying to be heard and seen, that don't have this opportunity. So it really just kind of sat in my heart that I wanted to be able to create a space where women felt safe, but also that we could share our wisdom, we can carry another person's pain. So, oh, I can show you my cover. So this is my cover. Make Boys Cry. I did a vision book. And then, then on the bottom it says here, sorry, over here too, it says creating a sisterhood with women who lead and inspire. So I'm reading it backwards, so it's a little bit slow. And so first of all, I want to talk about this. I know it sounds really bad, make boys cry. It's a negative connotation. And, a lot of people might not like me for it, for saying this, but I think, what I want you to see is I want you to take the mind frame of being negative to something positive. So what I was sharing with my group yesterday for the women who attended my event, Make Boys Cry, is I was encouraging women to step into their role of being a caretaker, to being, sorry, let me just crap. Okay, so basically to step into being nurturers. And I felt like these are things that could be frowned upon, like who wants to serve, or and be, dare I say, slaves to their husbands. No, I was telling women, like, be proud of who you are, care for your children, your other women, other men, your men in your lives, whether it's your husband, that's obvious, your boyfriend, your son, your father, your uncles, your brothers, right? Care for them so much, right, by your acts of service, um and your whole heart, so much that when they think of you, they cry. See, so when they think of you, it's more so they cry because they are so cared, they are so loved, they are so comforted. So those tears are good tears, and those tears are great. Men need to release their tears, but it should be happy tears. And so it's not so like, nah, you don't get to come. You're a boy. We're keeping you out, right? I mean, I made hashtags that said, no boys allowed, and we kind of played with that and had a little bit fun. But I didn't want people to look at me and say, wow, Katie. When I posted it, I'm like, oh my gosh, all these other women are probably like, gosh, Katie, she's such a feminist. I mean, I am, granted, because I want to help others, men or women, but I definitely want to encourage women to, because once I feel like a woman steps into her light, she allows, Sean's leaving, so once she steps into her light, she allows another woman to step into her light, because Sorry, hold on. Lena is saying, wait, I think it means that you want to open the hearts of men so that they are touched and able to cry. Exactly. And they are able to cry because you've made them feel important. You've addressed their needs. You've been the sister, the wife, the daughter. Like, because that's what I do with my dad. It's like my dad and I, we talk every single day. And he's so proud of me too. He's sending, my business cards to his friends, and he's like, I want the one with the photo of you. And but we have such a relationship where, like, I'm from a Vietnamese generation. I mean, a Vietnamese background, and maybe the men don't show. At least my father per se doesn't show, like, he doesn't say I love you, but he shows it in ways where he calls me and he'll say things like, "Hey, did you have lunch today? How's your day doing?" And then it's like a quick hello and goodbye. But I know, like, um, my dad loves me so much, and that because I try to help him out with whatever problem he has, like if he has a iPhone problem, a business problem, he needs an email to be sent, or he can't log in, and social media, and because my dad's pretty, like, in the world of what's happening, or tries to be, um, that I want him to, I want him to feel special and that I care for him. I don't want him to be put in the back burner. So I always try to give him attention. I always try to have lunch with him and spend time with him. So that's what I mean by opening, like what Lena was saying, to opening the hearts of men so that they can they feel so much for you. They love you so much that they're crying out of happiness and not because of sadness. Lena says men don't cry because they feel that they need to be tough, but when really they can be soft and still be approved and cherished. I love that. That is so true. And I think that really makes it a point where we can make it so that men feel safe enough to cry, good or bad, right? Like, could be sadness, it could be happiness. Then that we want to create that environment for the men in our lives. So please, if you guys see this online, don't be like, oh, Katie's crazy, And I didn't tell people what I was actually planning until the day of the event, but I hope that made people smile. And I was like, okay, I'm not that bad of a person, right? Angela Marie says, my husband always cries laughing. Hey, that's a good thing, because so I just met Angela today. She's an amazing woman. I mean, we have so much in common. A woman who's on fire for the Lord, is beautiful, super fashionista. I mean, I thought I had style. This girl had a lot more style than me. But I bet you make your husband cry because he is so in love. And I can tell you're a great woman to him. So and Kim Hua says she loves that. Okay, so that was my make men's cry, but make boys cry. Oh, and then about stepping in, what I've felt like is, like, once you step into who you are and what God's made you to be, the confidence that you're able to help other people build upon, it just multiplies. So by me stepping into my light, saying like, hey, I'm going to own myself. God put this on my heart that I'm going to go out and do this. And I'm going to be proud of my body and what he's made me. That allows other people to step into their light. For example, I used to live in South County, okay, and it's not. I lived in what was called, like, what is it, Housewives? Like, the Desperate Housewives show. I mean, literally, it was like the houses all look like that, and most of the women were able to, at least in my community, were easily able to be stay-at-home wives, and I had this dynamic of working and also trying to be there for my kids, because moms, and I like to be fancy. I mean, if you know me, I love fancy. Lena, can you say that? You verify, tell me, right? I like to be fancy. I like to dress well. I love to have my makeup, my hair done. It just makes me feel better about myself when I go out into the world. Do I always have to have it on? No. Do I enjoy it though? Yes. So, and then I come from a place where my mother, if you know my mom, I mean, she is so fabulous for who she is. I mean, she does do it a little over the top. She has the hair extensions, like even the little bun thingies, if it's a bun one day, if it's like a ponytail, she's got that. She's so fabulous that I'm like, because she's fabulous, I want to be fabulous like my mom. I want to look great like her. And she's so fun and all these beautiful adjectives from my mother. I'm like, I want to be like her. So when I was in South County, a lot of the mothers would say to me, like, Katie, we're just in a meeting right now, or you're just picking up your kids from school, but like, we're not going on TV. And I would be like, these people are so mean. Like, they couldn't celebrate the fact that like I just like to be dressed up, and feel good about myself. Like, I mean, now where I'm at, I can see they were presenting what their issues were on me, but it did hurt me. I have to say, it did bother me. I mean, they like to be in yoga pants and they like their little thermos with their hot coffee or vodka. That's what I've learned. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, do your thing. But it was crazy to me that there was so much vodka that's going on in these thermos at the 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 morning roundup, when they say the Pledge of Allegiance. So, oh my gosh, Lena says, how boring. Life is too short to wear boring clothes. Totally. I mean, there's so many options out there. And, maybe Angela will even dress me. She was so fabulous today. I wish I could show you a picture, but I'm live streaming on Instagram. But I will share. So make sure you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And the information is going to be below. But you'll see how fabulous this lady is. So when they said that to me, I just was so sad. But then I thought about like, well, so I would wear clothes. I'm a curvier girl. And I've had women come up to me and say, because you just like came and wore your best, like, presented yourself the best as you could, like you wore that dress or you wore that jacket, and normally I wouldn't because I would just wear very loose clothes. They said that it encouraged them to dress better. So, and I had that often, or I had women come up to me at like conventions and say, oh my gosh, you're wearing an A-line dress, which is like a dress that goes like this, instead of like a tight body dress. Angela Marie says, I don't care if I'm extra. Hello. Yes. What is it? I had something about guacamole. Like, I don't know about guac if you're extra. So, and that would be us, right? And Angela says, yes, embrace your bodies, ladies. Yeah. So like I would wear these A-line dresses, and just because I didn't want to wear tight, it's not that. I just was wearing an A-line dress because I thought I was at a convention and I thought it would just look great. And I wear the color yellow because I'm a bright, cheery person. And oh my goodness, so many ladies, even my coach, okay, came to me and was like, you make it where like I could wear A-line dress because you're wearing it and it looks so good on you. Like, you've encouraged me. And people will say like they don't like to wear A-line because they feel like it makes them wider. And I'm like, I love A-line because it makes my waist look skinnier. So it's one of those things where like I could see that it brings, when I step into who I'm made to be, it helps the next person. So with that said, that's why I have this event where I've it's been put on my heart that I want to have this women's event. And like I was saying, creating a sisterhood with women who lead and inspire. And they don't have to be C-suite executives. You could be a stay-at-home mom. You could be a volunteer at a local church. Or you could just be a newbie getting a new job. I mean, I've mentored high school students, even elementary, all the way, to young working professionals, to graduate school kids in college school, like second generation college students. So, or first, I think it depends on how you view it. Like, first generation, is that me because it's first generation in America going to school and I was born here? Or am I second generation because my parents are first generation in America and I'm the second one going to school? So anywho, tomato, tomato. But so with that, I threw this event. And let me just tell you about the spiritual warfare that I felt like I was facing. I had posted on social media about this event, and it was kind of quiet. And that's usually what happens. I have this great idea, I try to push it out, and it was really quiet. And I was just like, God, like, you put this on my heart, and I'm being obedient. I'm listening. I'm doing what you're telling me to do. And I felt like why? Why did you put this on my heart, God? Because nobody's biting back. Like I'm posting it and I'm like, yeah, I gotta like, and I have like, oh, someone, oh yeah, I might be interested, but like nobody's like paying our, the fee to RSVP. And so I just kind of felt really doubtful. I knew, of course, God had a plan and I had to trust him. So I kept praying and kept asking. I was seeking him, seeking an answer. Like, do I continue? Because the event now is like, let's say 2 weeks out. And still I had like one person, her name is Seti. She was the only one that actually like RSVP, no one else. And we had like, I was praying like how many people, and I know this is like, it sounds like wild for those who like are haven't developed, like a personal relationship with God. So I'm like, God, what's a good number should I have? And like God kept speaking to me. It was going to be between 20 to 25. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a reasonable number for a first time event. Like, and as I kept praying, like this 20 became more clear. And but near the end, when I was like probably 7 days out from the event, I was like still doubtful because again, we didn't have the RSVP, the numbers that I was hoping. And every night, God gave me a dream, visions. First night, it was like a room of women, like a close up shot where they were like chatting and talking and like laughing and having a good time. And I was like, oh, is God telling me like that's what it's going to be like? And then the next night, it would be like a bigger span of like women chatting, having a good time, and like kind of like a pan around the room, like, oh wow, this is like I felt like he was telling me like that's what I was gonna see. And I kept thinking, and then it was like, how many women were here? It looked like there was 20, and and then I was like, okay. I told Sean, I'm like, I don't know if I'm having these visions because this is what I want, or like, is God giving me these visions to tell me that this is what's gonna happen? And so I said, you know what? Rain or shine, because it was raining and it's raining here. It was windy. It's cold. It's raining outside right now. I was like, I'm just going to have the event. I'm going to trust God, and whoever doesn't show up, like, it doesn't matter because even if it's one, we're going to connect. Well, slowly but surely, God is good. So, just one person RSVP'd, another person RSVP'd, and we were sold out. Mind blown. Sold out, you guys. Like, I couldn't believe it. And it was 2 days before the event, and I could post that we were sold out. Like, you guys had no idea. And then I was like, we're sold out. I don't have enough booklets. Like, I need to put this together. I need to print like a retractable banner. I need to do like a little foam board because it's like a welcome sign. Like, I was like, okay, now it's really happening, and I gotta put the show together. Um, and it ended up being more than 20 women. Like, people brought more people. And so we had a full room and we had an extra table. It was so beautiful and so lovely. Kim Hwa says it was such an amazing event. I got so much out of it. You're such a blessing, Katie. Thank you, Kim Hwa. I appreciate you so much for saying that. It means a lot to me. And and then a bunch of other things too besides that, like, that was like the devil getting in my mind. But also what had happened too is I had made an RSVP at this restaurant telling the manager that I wanted a private room. And I gave him the number of like 20 to 25 women. So, he sends me the information. He sends me like just general information about the restaurant, and he tells me like, hey, the only room we have left is like, I don't know, one of the rooms, like wood or fire, I'm not sure. He gives me it, and I'm like, okay. I responded, okay. And then I get an RSVP like email, and then I get a text message saying you've RSVP'd for 20 people. I'm like, perfect. So, and he did send me the menu and like kind of like, what did you want to do? Do you want to do prefix? Do you want them to choose their own meal? And I figured, well, most other restaurants, because my dad owns a restaurant and he does catering. Most of the time you give them about a week out to tell you exactly what they want to eat. And then at that time they can like order the food. Um, and so a week before the event, I touch in with the manager and I said, hey, just want to let you know, like, or I just wanted to ask you, like, when do I have to give you my final count? And he says to me, Katie, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, I have an RSVP on a Thursday for 20 women. And he's like, you're not on the calendar. I'm like, how could I not be on the calendar? I have like an RSVP. And he's like, oh, because you never told me about food. And I was like, well, I didn't know. I mean, why didn't you ask me? I mean, but I also got a text and an email confirmation telling me that I had an RSVP. He's like, yeah, you have an RSVP, but we were just going to kick you outside. Like, it's just going to, not a private room. And I'm like, well, that's not going to help, you know? So at first, you know, I was like, oh, right. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to trust God. Trust God. He has a plan. He has a plan. I can't get upset. Like I could explode on this. So then, yeah, zip. Yeah. And then he tells me like, oh, you're going to be outside. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me come by and let me see. So I go to the restaurant, I check it out, and I was like, okay, outside's nice. And I kind of walk through all the rooms. There's 5 different rooms or so. And then so like he goes, oh, you'll be outside. And he's like, and there was like heat lamps all around, like, I mean, they were so close to one another. I didn't think anybody was going to be cold. I was like, do you think they'll be cold? And he's like, no, you should be fine. It's not gonna be a problem. So I thought, okay, well, I sent an email to the girls saying, hey, you know, we're going to be outside. Just make sure you bring a jacket. Well, who knew that we were going to have like this winter storm coming through? It's like wind blowing and it's like, it's raining and it's super cold. And so these ladies are texting me saying like, Katie, I don't know if I can go because I don't want to get sick. And I'm like, oh, you should be fine. But you know what? Like you should be fine outside. But you know what? Let me figure this out. Let me see if we can get inside to the restaurant. And of course, in my mind, I'm like, oh, the devil is working against me. Like spiritual warfare here. This is terrible. Like I'm there in my first event and I have nowhere to go. We can't be outside, obviously, because it's way too cold. And there's no space inside because he's told me left and right, like you can't get a private room and there's no space to put you. And he wouldn't tell me why, but when I went yesterday, it was because there's a wedding there. So I call the manager on his day off and I was like, dude, manager, like, okay, you put me outside in the patio. I thought I was getting a private room, but like, where can you put me now? Because I'm having issues with the women who may not show up because it's going to be too cold. So he figures something out and he puts me into like this main room. It's a shared room. So everyone kind of walked in and it was like weird. You know, we had one side to us, but like the other side had guests. And it was really loud, you know, and I was telling the women like, um, that who were there. It was like, I did a walkthrough. I saw this place, but it was 4 p.m. and it was super quiet. And now like the music was so loud. And then they had the wedding on one side. And then the other side, they had a networking event with like all these IT people. It was so loud. But you know what? The show must go on. So we just did the best we could. So I'm literally standing there like screaming at everybody and saying, this is the law of attraction. Does anybody know about the law of attraction? I mean, it was pretty crazy, but I know that was a little bit exaggerated, but it really was really hard. So it took a lot of courage to keep trusting the Lord. And I was even telling Angela and Kim Hua earlier too that I had been praying like for the past couple of weeks of like God to give me a message that I could share with the women. And it just wouldn't come to me. And I kept praying, like, okay, I know God, you're probably really busy, but Holy Spirit, like come into me and like let just words come out of me. And so that I can inspire women because I feel like that I do have a little bit of knowledge I could share and inspire the women with. Because I've been so blessed with the classes I've been able to take, the coaching, I mean, the conventions I've been able to go to. I'm like, I would love to share my knowledge. And honestly, it was until 4 p.m. yesterday that I was able to like have an epiphany and it just came to me. You know, I couldn't do it all morning because I went to a networking event. Then I had a work in between. I was taking calls and then I had to go to the print shop to pick up like our banner and our boards. And then I had to go to Office Depot to like cut the menu. I mean, it was just like we were doing so many things. So all of a sudden at 4 o'clock, and here I am praying, like, Holy Spirit, please come into me. And it came 6 pages in 45 minutes. Like it was so amazing. And I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be great to just kind of share at a high level, kind of what I was talking about? So, and what we kind of did. So one of the openings that we did together was like, I wanted it to be for the whole room, but because it was so noisy, we kind of separated into different rooms. And it was like one to be, we were talking about, what is your word of the year? Like, what would you want to promise yourself that you are going to do for yourself? For me, it was grace, which is because I work really hard. I'm really tough on myself. I am a perfectionist and I expect so much of myself. I want to give myself grace, even grace for my body, you know, after losing my son and having go through the surgery of the vertical and horizontal C-section, which is horrible, by the way. and still have in some pain. That I wanted to be graceful and be okay with my body. And like even yesterday when I was watching the videos, um, I my my belly area is still going through some stuff, and it didn't look good, but it's okay. I'll be okay with it. I'm slowly accepting it, and I'm gonna work on it. But that was tough. But it was really nice to kind of see people's. One was like healing, the other one was like elevate. Other words were like pivot. Right, that was Kim Hwa's. There's health. There were so many different things to see, like what did people want to focus on this year so that they can be better. And sometimes it just takes picking one thing. I think people become so overwhelmed because they're trying to do so many things at one time. I even told the girls today that I came to this event. I was at another personal development event earlier this morning. I went to the event, first of all, number one, to support uh, the AAPI community, and it was a women's event because I wish people would show up to my event. I went to help them, not so I could be like, let me be her duplicate, let me be her, or learn. Of course, I want to learn from her, but it wasn't to be her competition or anything. I just was coming and celebrate. Everybody trying to do something for others and sharing their love, their expertise. And I said, I come to these events and I only walk out with one thing. I only want to learn one thing because everything, if I want to apply 5 things, is literally going to be impossible because we're in our lives, we're in a habit of doing things. And they say it's that there's statistics testing that's been done that it takes 90 days to actually be in love with, not to change the things that you do and love the new way that you do things that you will actually continue. So for me, it would just be one thing that I would take away. So I hope that that's what you try to do and that's what you tried to apply. But so for Alina says, yeah, habit. I know, and somebody I should have had a mic, but I think it would have been too loud for the guests that were behind me. And like I felt really bad too when there was like a lot of men groups that were in the behind us, and then here I am with this sign that says "Make Boys Cry." I did see about 2 men who became interested from 2 separate tables, who then became interested in what I was talking about. They gave me grace, but then there was ones who came late and sat like at the center table. It was like 4 men, and they did not like me. I could tell they hated me because of my sign. But I'm like, you have no idea. Like it means to love you, not to make you cry, make you suffer, or and be anti-men. That wasn't our goal. So that's what that was pretty interesting. We also did the Phenomenal Woman poem, and that one's by Maya Angelou, and it's just so beautiful. I'm not sure if you guys have read that. Let me just go really quick. Oh, we're at an hour. Okay, we got to wrap this up. Just a couple of things. Okay. So Phenomenal Woman is a great poem that I definitely hope that you can just kind of read. But let me just read you maybe like the first stanza. It says, pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I am a woman, phenomenal woman. That's me. Right. Isn't that crazy? Like, I love this because it allows us to just own ourselves and be okay with it. And of course for men too, we love our men. And I always like to say that, and my husband, my son, my father, my brother, everybody is in my family I adore and I admire. I'm not saying that I don't like men and I have an issue with men. No. And that, and that I've been hurt by them in any negative way. I just say, like, this is beautiful. We're a different creature, a different species. We're made the way we are, and we should love the way we are. So I just love this poem. I hope that you spend some time and get to know it and read it. But also so the whole point of my program yesterday was to do like I call it the vision planning. So I made a vision board. I want to tell the story real quick. It's probably we'll have another probably 10 minutes and we'll wrap it up. But I want to share the story of how I came about this vision board and what it means to me. So many years ago, my friend, we invited me to an event. I'm a yes person, so if anybody's got anything going on and you need somebody to go with you, I'm your girl. I will be there and I will show up, and we'll have a good time too. So yeah, so I'm like, I'm usually there. And he said it was a convention. I'm like, yeah, because they need to get like keynote speakers. You meet so many people, and they're like the quality people. Like it's just as far as like speakers and encouragement, being inspired. I'm like, I love it. So he said it's a convention. I'm like, even better. So they passed out a small book, couple pages, 4x6. I'm like, okay, what is this? And they said it's a planning book. I'm like, okay, I get it. I mean, we've had New Year's resolutions. I've made vision boards, and vision boards is one of the New Year's resolutions more so like losing weight, doing this, doing that. But it's like sporadic, like it's like maybe 4 or 5 things. And then we have the vision boards where it's like I've had this vision board and I'm like slapping all these photos of like things that, places I want to go, things I want to achieve, and inspiring words. But it's like it's a big collage of things. So when I got this book, I was like, this is interesting. It's something that I never really thought about, but I like it. I liked it. It had where I was looking at my whole life, but I was categorizing it and making it simple. Hold on a second. Sean says he's watching me from the pickup line. He's picking up our son and our daughter right now. Love you, Sean. Okay. So it like I never really, it told me to set like life goals. It was before it was like, let's finish school, let's lose a couple of pounds, right? But here, when I went to this event, it was like, what are your financial dreams? Okay, yeah, we all, what are our overall dreams? What are we going to work on for ourselves? And what about in your business? Because before, for me, it was always like, let's focus on your business. How can you grow your business? Then it became sales, like what? So getting this little book, I was very impressed. So I participated and I filled out the pages during a breakout session, and then I set it aside. I kind of forgot about it. But if you know me and you get my holiday letters, you know how crazy I am. So what happened was I started doing our holiday letter at the end of the year, which takes me forever. But if you see my holiday letters, you know what's up. I mean, let's see. Gosh, I have so many here. Look at this one. I mean, this is a holiday card. Isn't that cute? It says a naughty list. Never heard of it. We just have a really good time, or look, I collect my cards, but like this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not showing you guys over here. It says like, have a merry Christmas. Like, come on. Like, isn't that so darn cute? So, but I do a full letter. It's called the Bayliss Bulletin. So Lena says it's a time capsule. Yeah. And I love receiving holiday cards, and I love it even more when people tell me what's up, So I encourage you, if you ever want to send out a holiday card, like make it even sweeter by giving us a sweet update. So I was like looking over the year and I was like, oh my God, these are the things that I was like kind of wishing for on that little like 4x6 that I was given by my friend. I mean, some of the things on there was like things I was wishing for Sean. It was like, can he be a notary for me? Because I need him to sign. I need him to notarize my estate plans I was making for my clients. And then I think in one of the years, it was like way many years ago. And I was like, Sean's always in the back end doing like the operating part of our businesses, financials. He's the tech guy. I was like, you know what? Gosh, can he be an agent with me? Because in that way we can tag team, right? If I can't go one day, he can go for me to show homes, and then he does all the paperwork, and I can negotiate. So it was like, okay, let's do this. I kind of wrote that, and like I started noticing like, oh my gosh, all the things I had asked and had set aside, like it became true. And that's what inspired me to write like this quote on the front of this. If you guys can see it right here, it says, once you make the decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. And that's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I just was like, that's what happened. I literally wrote it down and it came true. So I talked about during that when yesterday I talked about like the law of attraction and like the law of attraction being the most prevalent principle in the world. Um, and to use the law of attraction, right? You must think what you want and not just what you want avoid. So yes, Lena, I'm going to get to that. Yes. But we're going to talk about generally as the law of attraction, the secret of success. And then the three steps of law of attraction are asking, believing, and receiving. And you have to say like you've already received it, like it's coming. So there was Jim Carrey, he was on Oprah, and this is before The Secret. Anybody knew about The Secret? So, Jim Carrey, he wanted to be a movie star, but like he was getting gigs that were like not so big. And so what he did was he envisioned himself being a star, and he wrote himself a check for $10 million, and he dated it 5 years later. And he talks about, lo and behold, he ended up making that sum of money, $10 million from Dumb and Dumber. Like that was his breakout movie. And it was just right before the deadline. And so I was telling the women yesterday, so you got to ask it, you got to believe it, and you have to receive it. And I said, not only does it say it for the law of attraction, about the universe having its waves and writing it down and making it happen. I also have to say that it says it in the Bible as well. And it's actually it's Alina says it's Hebrew 11:1, but I remember it from Habakkuk 2:2, which just says write it down and make it plain. Lena says Hebrews 11:1 says write it down and God will make it happen. But I say, write it down, make it plain. Don't make it too complicated. We make things too complicated for ourselves, and most likely we're not going to stick to what we want to do or what we want to happen. So I just encourage everybody to take time, because I made a vision board, and this is similar to what I was given, but it's just so simple. You can just categorize everything. So the vision board and the year, the word that you want, like, your purpose word. And then someone put time. This is not my book. I'm sorry who's ever book this is. Lena says 2 verses. Heb is about faith and that it will happen. Oh, got it. Thank you. So here it's just, you put your word for the year, your purpose word, and then just different categories. What do you want for yourself physically, right? What do you want for yourself spiritually? What about your family? What about your mental health? What about financially, right? That's usually what people do in order to achieve. They worry about this. But our body and our mind is like made up of so much more. We have to fill this all up. And then just basic things like places I want to go, because I've done this and I swear every year it happens. And then here too, activities to try, like do something different. Go for a hike, go race car driving. I mean, there's K1, right? Close enough, right? And then things I want. I mean, spoil yourself, right? I attended this personal development. It was Michelle Fan from YouTube, and she was just talking. And this is something that I would have talked about yesterday if I had the mic. It was about like scarcity and then living in abundance, right? So for Vietnamese people, many of us, we live from the perspective of scarcity because our parents ran away from their country, moved to another country, lost everything they have. So whatever they have, they're like holding on tight. I mean, my mom is a hoarder, won't let anything go because she lost it all when she left the war. And I can't imagine that, like leaving everything behind, going to another country, not being able to speak that language, not being able to have the money. I mean, I think that would be devastating. And so, but we want to come from a place of abundance, that you do have enough. What you have is enough, right? And that's what I had to learn. And so with that said, it's like spend a little bit on yourself. I didn't do that before. Every penny I saved, it was like for the next house that we needed or for the next car, or I had a budget. But now, and thankfully I'm in an okay space, but now I'm like, gosh, it is nice to be able to like get myself, this necklace or this nice jacket. And so work hard, but enjoy the fruits of your labor too. So I just wanted to share that. But if you wanted a vision board copy, let me know. The other thing too, really quick, and to wrap it up, is that I actually have another vision board in the packet, and people are like, why do you have two copies? One is pink and one is white. Well, let me tell you the story behind this. I had a coach, executive coaching, it's more strategy coaching that I had for leveraging our business, and then me stepping in the role of running from a small to medium business. Um, and my coach always would have Sean in the counseling sessions, or our sessions that we were coaching. She was coaching me through, and there was no additional charge. And I would always be like, how can we do this? Because you're so gracious. Other people would want to like charge extra because he's another person. And she told me, because once you elevate yourself, and your spouse or those in your family who are not working on themselves, personal development, improving themselves, then there's going to be a conflict, because there's this little separation. There's going to be one person on the top that's improving, becoming, and then there's one that's just kind of like hanging out. And she says that she's about keeping marriages together, keeping people together. So she's like, then he has to go through the same thing. So I say that to say, you have page 1 to fill out, right? But you also have page 2, because whoever you're with, and I want to tell you that this isn't how, if you don't have a spouse, that's fine. If you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, that's fine. But this is for, whoever's in your life. So like my kids, they're going to be filling this out. And one of the girls yesterday was like, you think I should have my kids? And I was like, they have dreams. They have things that they want to work on. They have places they want to go out and see. Like, why can't they fill this out? It doesn't matter. There's no discrimination on age here. So, and last thing, so that's that on my booklet. I mean, there's so much more to it. I wish you could have attended, but you know what? Hey, there's a next time. But another thing is like, I was contemplating whether or not to bring Kara, our daughter, to the event. She's only 9 years old. I knew she would love the food. So that wasn't the question, but I didn't know if the topic of leadership, of inspiring others, of vision mapping, if that was too like high level for her. And then my husband, Sean, said a really good point. And I love that guy. He's so amazing. He was saying that if that my dad had taken me to everything. I literally went to everything, all the business meetings. He went to see an attorney. He would go to the city. He took me everywhere with him when he had his businesses. And I think that's how I was able to become the businesswoman I am today, because I was able to witness him problem solving, or being creative, or seeking advice. Like, what do you do in this situation? And if he didn't know, he went to a professional, or he's sought the advice of a friend. So Sean said, your dad did that for you. Like, you should do that for Kara. Like, allow her to grow, allow her to see you do what you do, so that she could be inspired by you. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so lovely. So I took her. And she's the sweetest. She wanted to help out. She was passing out some, like, I had some makeup brushes, and she's like, oh, can I be a helper? So she helped me out. And when I was talking about the law of attraction, and writing it down and making it plain, and I told everybody, I go, I'm going to be honest. When you write things down, they don't always come true, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't work, you know? And then I went, and then I finished my little speaking session. And then I sat down, and Kara said, Mommy, you should have said that when you write it down and it doesn't come true, she said that it just wasn't meant to be. And I was like, she's my daughter. Like her wisdom. She's so, such a deep soul. And when we talked about purpose words, her purpose word was positivity. I'm talking about grace. She's talking about being positive. And I was like, wow. Why? And I said, why do you want the word positive? She said, there's so much in life to be sad about, but I want to be bright. I want to be positive. She's like, I don't want to look at negative things. And I'm like, and then she's telling everybody, in our big circle, probably like 10 people, 10 women. I was just like, yeah, she's in my holiday letter that I write. I will say in there, she is my glass half full, not half empty, because that's just how she is. And same thing with my son too. He was there yesterday. He thought boys make boys cry. He thought I was being funny because the boys weren't invited and no boys club. But I said no, that's why. I explained it to him and he was happy. I'm like, I wouldn't be mean to you, son. Like I wouldn't let that be my aura, And so he was so happy. Um, Sean says she's listening. Yes. Lena says, did you have her answer the question? Which question, Lena? About her purpose word, or about the purpose word was within our group table, but I did take her around to say, hey, Kara had an input. In addition to what I was saying, is that when you write it down and it doesn't happen, doesn't mean that it's meant to be. And so Kara went around and she told everyone that it just, that she said that because it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't, um, yeah. So she was such a brave little girl and she really enjoyed. I feel sorry for her future boyfriends and her husband because that little girl likes to eat very nice things. So she enjoyed our meal. She had steak and then she had Korean short rib, and it was delicious. And then she had a very nice chocolate souffle cake with vanilla bean ice cream and a little raspberry and whipped cream. And she had told Sean that this is the best dessert I have ever had. I can't believe I've lived without it. I mean, she's gonna be a costly little girl, but I have to say the fruit does not fall far from the tree because she's got it from her mama. I do like very nice things. I like nice food too. So, and that's why we had it there. But that's all, family. Actually, I'm going to show you one more thing. And it's just because it's so fun for me. We played so many games yesterday. It was so much fun. Okay. So it's about self-care yesterday. It was a Galentine's party, vision mapping, make boys cry. So Kara and I I got these bags off of Amazon and we put the stickers on. We put some bath salts in here. And this one smells really good. This was a eucalyptus one. I like it a lot more than the lavender, but I just want to show you what I wrote in the back. I mean, it's not my verse or not my quote, but it was just, it's just very nice. So it says here, some things are just better not spread too thin. Yourself and peanut butter. So isn't that the cutest? And then I said, relax, soak, and unwind. Love, Katie Bayliss. So I hope they use it. I just want to inspire them to. Anonymous Lee says, you can also create stickers on your Cricut machine. Is this Lee from Instagram? So Lee was telling me, like, she saw Sean cut all of our games up by hand, and she's like, you should be using the Cricut. I'm like, I don't know how to use it. And now she's saying you can create stickers with the Cricut machine. That's pretty cool. I did print this out with the Avery labels, and it turned out really well. Oh, hi, Lee. So it's you. Okay, same person. Do you guys have any questions? Does anybody have any questions, whether it's real estate, it's law, or life? And if you do let me know. I'm going to work on probably setting up a Facebook group this weekend. It's probably going to be your real bestie. Oh, Lena says, you have a Cricut machine? Yeah, I have a Cricut machine. I've had it for like a year or two. It's like this pink one. It's a client gave it to me. And I busted it out like a couple months ago to try to make something. And I just didn't know how it worked. And said what happened was it like cut the piece that you're supposed to put the cardstock on. It like literally cut the padding. So I was like, oh, I didn't know. And I couldn't get the is it calibrations correct? Yeah, so I'll work on it. Maybe I should just like take some time to watch. I mean, it's YouTube University, right? I should watch some cricket like beginners videos. So, all right. Well, I don't see any questions. Um, Thank you so much, friends like Lee, Angela, Leah, Sean. I see Shane and Kara. They're in the car listening to me. We've all our friends on Instagram. I mean, so many, so many. My nieces, all my attorney friends or new attorney friends, realtors, old friends. I mean, gosh, thank you, Smiley. PQ says, love it. But let me know if you guys, want to talk about anything. You guys are going to be guiding my show. It's just like certain cases that are not being publicized, like other citizens, I guess that's what we're called, who oh, Angela, yes, you want a copy of the book? I got you, girl. Next time when I see you. Or I can message it to you too. I'm email you. Just text me. So yeah, you guys can direct me on what you guys want me to cover. And I just want to say I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And gosh, I talked really fast. One thing you'll know is I like to talk, and that's why I'm making this live. But thank you again. God bless. And let's pray really quick for those who want to just log off. That's fine too. But let's just pray. Dear God, thank you so much for this lovely Friday. Thank you for bringing everyone here today to join me on my live stream, to share in my journey. We pray for your blessings of abundance, of good health, of joy. We pray that you watch over us and guide us in our life. And for some, their struggles, and carry them through their pain. We pray that you help us impact those around us, and show who you are and how kind you are and how loving you are. Um, we ask for your protection, and we ask for your guidance, your provision, um, and, and that you continue to just help us be who you designed us to be. Um, and in Jesus' name, we say amen. Thank you all so much. Love you. Love you. Bye. Catch you next time. Bye. Sorry. Lena says, wow, I used to pray for you. Now you pray for me. Yeah, isn't that so amazing? What the roles have switched. But I'm going to log off. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. I would appreciate you so much, and catch you next week, Friday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.